Well, howdy do, buckaroos. How the heck are you? Hey, this is Tom the Beer Whisperer. I am kicking back here on the weekend. I'm doing my, well, I wasn't able to do a Cinco DeMayo thing on the actual Cinco DeMayo, so I'm a couple days late, but it is a good excuse to make an interpretation of some Mexican food and drink a Mexican beer. Having a Modelo Especial. I actually wanted to buy Tecate because the store I went to used to have Tecate, and now they don't. So, but they had the Modelo Especial for $11.77 a 12-pack. So, $5.90 a 6-pack. I figured, what the hell? But I'm going to drink this how I used to always drink Tecate as a very young drinker, which is with the lime in there, and then you'd put a little bit of salt in. Well, it wasn't working for me. Let me just pour the salt in there. Had a little bit of salt in here, but got some moisture on my salt. Now it's not working. So anyways, it should have foamed up more than that, but I didn't get the salt in there right away. There we go. We're gonna get the salt in, and there you can see that start fizzle there once I put the salt in. Oh yeah, babe. So I got a lime in there. I had this one on there for decoration, but now that I got that in there, I'm gonna pinch that one off in there too. There we go. So what am I beer drinking, buddies? Well, not exactly beer. We don't drink a lot of beer together, but through social media, we drink a lot together. John drinks like an 18-year-old who just snuck out the house. He drinks a lot of get drunk quick malt liquor stuff and that sort of thing, and 30-pack beer. But in John's defense, John also drinks some of the best craft beer known to man. He's just one of those guys that seems to like both for whatever reason. I'm not a fan of the get drunk quick stuff, but he likes it. So him and I kind of rib each other back and forth. You know, he gets on me for being snobbish, which I don't think I am. I just like to point out the truth. And I get on him for drinking like an 18-year-old. So anyways, on Cinco de Mayo, he posted a picture of a Corona, so I snarked back. You couldn't find any real beer. So he told me to get over it, and I said, get over what? That's a logical question. So anyway, but we do that back and forth all the time. You know, the truth is, though, even as a young drinker, I never liked Corona because it just has no flavor. But again, once again, I'll stick up for John as I'll hammer him on one side, stick up for him on the other. It might have been the only beer available for him. Never liked Corona. It just doesn't have any flavor. There's nothing to it. But I think that's why it is so popular, or was so popular back in the 80s anyway, because it was light, it was very smooth, it was perfect for hot weather drinking. I grew up in California, so it was a perfect beer out there. But I've always liked Tecate better because it had more flavor. Modelo Especial has a very similar flavor to Tecate. It's a little stronger. And although I don't think these beers are beers that you really need to constantly do, you know, analyzation videos of, I think that's just ridiculous. There's certainly nothing wrong with enjoying a beer like this. I mean, I try to buy as much craft as possible, local craft. You know, you can't help buying from the big guys every now and again. And I don't necessarily take issue with those that do. What issue I do take is those that constantly do videos that actually, you know, resemble a commercial more so than any than a you know, what's the word I'm looking for, than an objective beer video. It's basically a, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30-minute commercial for a macro product that doesn't need any help. And that kind of thing irritates me. You try to pass yourself off as an objective beer reviewer, but you're basically doing a macro commercial, you know. It's ridiculous. But I'm cooking some food. I put some smoke on a 5-pound boneless wrapped pork butt yesterday. I used some bourbon barrel chunks that I'd forgot about. I had them when I visited John's neighborhood about 2.5 years ago. Bardstown, Kentucky. He lives up near Louisville. But we visited Bardstown, and we drove up and spent a day with him and his wife, Lori and Charles, a friend, and Todd. Met them all up there and had a beer there at his house, and we went out to New Albanian Brewery. These guys are just awesome. They were so kind to my wife and I. It was unbelievable. But I lost track of where I was going with that because I had the bourbon checks. But anyway, I put some smoke on there last night. I let that very slow smoke very slow for about 4 hours. at right about 200. So now I've got some black beans, and I've got the pork roast finishing in the oven. Now they got the smoke on it, it's seasoned nice, and I've got some black beans and the pork roast finishing off in the oven. And then I'm going to make some fideo on the side. For those of you that haven't had fideo, it's basically a very thin pasta. It's basically broken pieces of vermicelli, more or less. But what you do with it is you take some oil or butter or a combination of both, whatever you like to use. It just doesn't matter. And you kind of move it over that oil and get a nice brown on it. And that adds some flavor to it. And then you take about 2 cups of liquid. And typically use a combination of water and tomato sauce. And you just let that simmer very slow for about 20 minutes, and that soaks up all the flavor. Now here's the thing, you're not really adding anything else to it. You can add a pinch of salt if you want, but it's basically one of those very simple dishes that just has a lot of flavor. It's been one of my favorite things since I first had it. We had some neighbors that made it, and it's always been one of my favorite things. And when I first met my wife, I made it for her, and she just loved it. And then the kids, Callista came along, and Seamus, it's just one of those dishes. Even if you like things with big bowl flavor, it's one of those simple dishes that's just amazing. So anyway, so I'm going to do the pork, kind of a version of a carnitas, the black beans, and the and the fideo that I just described. So anyway, I'm going to finish my Modelo here. And although I don't believe this is a beer that you really need to sit and overanalyze, I think under certain circumstances it is enjoyable on a nice warm day or with the right cuisine. I mean, it's just enjoyable. I don't find it harsh in any way. I just don't find it to have. It's just not one of those things that you really need to. I mean, it's like trying to do a video for Vienna sausages. Do you really need to examine certain things? Just don't need to be analyzed. You could just enjoy them. So just enjoy your beer, whatever it is. Enjoy your food, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family. It's Tom the Beer Whisperer. We'll talk to you later.